Op Garage Racer. We continue our video series from rags to riches. We're transforming our F30 from a basic drum into a top-tier, fully loaded configuration. In this episode, we'll talk about a common request from our clients: upgrading to NBT EVO, adding CarPlay, and everything related to multimedia. I think it will be interesting for everyone. Grab your popcorn and let's go. Those who are on our channel, you know about this car. If you're new to our video, look, this is a 328. We took it for a project, we pumped it up to 400 horsepower. It used to race with M cars and quite successfully. Then the engine blew up, so we decided to focus on the exterior. We installed LED headlights and rear lights. There's a separate video on that. We also added an M package with a front lip. Check out our separate video on M packages for the F30. After that, we moved on to the interior, adding extras and additional options for the driver. One of these upgrades is already on the channel. It's about the M Sport steering wheel. Then we upgraded the seats to sport ones. There's a video link for that too. After that, we installed an LED instrument cluster, also already on the channel. And now we've reached our fourth upgrade, which is installing the NBT EVO and CarPlay activation and screen mirroring. Generally speaking, NBT EVO installation and Apple CarPlay activation is one of the most frequent requests we get from our customers at the service. Whoa! And you ask, hey Vadim, why? If this is one of the most popular retrofit options, did I save it for last? Well, the answer is simple. I've always been an Android guy. I've had top-tier Samsung phones and things just never worked out with iPhones. So it took me a while to get to it. By the way, we even bought an iPhone 7 Plus specifically to test this feature. Now, we've moved to the interior of the familiar 335i, a client's car from Ivano-Frankivsk, and we're sitting in it right now. We'll break down the multimedia systems available in the BMW F30, explain why people are so eager to upgrade, what gets replaced, and whether it's even worth it. In short, every BMW F30 owner, regardless of their current multimedia setup, wants to upgrade to NBT EVO because it supports Apple CarPlay and Android screen mirror. We'll briefly cover the multimedia versions that existed before NBT EVO. If that doesn't interest you, and I bet that's most of you, feel free to skip ahead, about 5 minutes or so. The most basic multimedia version in the BMW F30 is called Entry, literally just Entry. It's pretty rare though. This system lacks navigation, has a small screen, and is generally not something you see often. It may have a cam box, it may not have a cam box. The cam box is the unit that's responsible for the Bluetooth. That is important for customers, that is to listen to music with Bluetooth. That is, imagine, even in F30, there is such a set where there will be no cam box. It is a block in the trunk, and you cannot even connect with your phone via Bluetooth to listen to your favorite song. That is for the user. It is Entry, it is the lack of navigation, and maybe there is music with Bluetooth and maybe not. Very as if relatively the weakest version of the hardware, the processor, the hard disk. It's important for a BMW owner to know that Entry, there's just no navigation, it's the simplest hardware. The simplest interface, usually small screens and probably not even Bluetooth music. Then there's Entry Nav. Nav means there's navigation. Entry Nav, there is navigation, also simple iron. That is, shortly, it is the most basic versions. Also, there are small monitors. There is also Entry Nav 2. It is already at restyle. There somewhere after the 16th year approximately. There, by the way, it is possible even function of Apple CarPlay with different things. Then after Entry Nav is the CIC Multimedia. It's like professional navigation, professional multimedia. It's got an improved interface, improved hardware. It's got navigation. So there's no music issues. This is the interface. This is the F30, F35 with CIC, which is usually a small washer. And there's navigation. So if you see a little washer without navigation, that's Entry. If you see a little washer with navigation, it's Entry Nav. Well, that's a rough overview. There are, of course, some nuances. This version has a small iDrive controller, but some owners install a larger one to mimic the NBT setup. By the way, I'm looking at the navigation. it's displaying our location. Our Ivano-Frankovsk Ugrimev village, where we are on our service station. It's funny, and here the owner has already updated the maps. There are maps of 2021st year, that is, in America usually navigation somewhere walks in the sea, somewhere do not show anything at all. We update the navigation maps and then everything starts working fine, adequately. Plus, CIC has a better display of the navigation itself. So better maps, better quality than Entry Nav, and a bigger screen. You can put a bigger screen on both Entry Nav and Entry. Like, it'll stretch, it'll be fine. Well, I remembered about the big screen. And in general, some customers say F30 needs a big screen, to have a big screen. Sergey Bako was probably one of them, shakes his head. So a large screen, well, a large screen can also come from the basic version just installed on Entry or Entry Nav before NBT EVO. And the price difference is huge, not to mention performance and functionality. By the way, CIC was the top multimedia system in the E series. The last E series, like the E70, E90 and E60. Back in 2009-2011, it was considered a top-tier multimedia system, and it also carried over to the F30. Around May 2012, NBT started to roll out, but this might only apply to the European market. In the US, some 2013 versions still came with CIC, like Sergey Bako's 2013 model with the half-year update. He's got CIC and like, well, NBT he doesn't have, so NBT has replaced CIC. That is the next professional multimedia. The main difference for the user is better sound. It's got a better sound card, better processor, better graphics, bigger hard disk. I mean, the screen is big. So that's one of the main differences for the owner. Before we get to the NBT EVO, to summarize, if you see a small screen, it is definitely Entry or Entry Nav or Entry Nav 2. If you see a small screen and no navigation, it is Entry. If you see a small screen and navigation, it is Entry Nav. But it can be that someone has already installed a large screen on this Entry. And Entry Nav then, well, it is unclear. I mean, from the factory, that is, if no one has not touched, then this is the difference, NBT. It's like, well, it's worth it. It's not worth it. It's up to everyone to decide. But some models like the basic Entry don't even have Bluetooth, so upgrading to NBT is a solid choice. You'll get a larger screen, a bigger iDrive controller, and much better sound quality compared to Entry CIC and Entry Nav. Upgrading to NBT is easier if you have Entry or Entry Nav, but if you have CIC, it's a bit more complicated. CIC is an older technology and the wiring may be different depending on your setup, meaning you'll have to reroute a bunch of wires to the NBT system. Anyway, those are the details you probably don't care about. The sun's setting here, so let's move quickly to NBT EVO and Apple CarPlay. NBT EVO started appearing around 2015. The first NBT EVO ID4 is called. On the NBT EVO ID4, as if from the factory, well, BMW, it's legal, you can't put Apple CarPlay on it. But what you can do, you can reflash it with ID5, ID6. To install CarPlay, you'll need to add an antenna and handle some other details. It generally works fine, but if you run navigation and Apple CarPlay at the same time, it might disconnect or even restart. However, we have a client, which we've mentioned in previous video. Pankratov, who was featured in our stage 2 video, here's the link, has an ID, IV, which we upgraded to ID, V and ID, VI. Everything works fine and the client is happy. He uses Apple CarPlay constantly with no issues. Moving on in 2016, 2017, NBT EVO ID6, ID5 and ID6. By 2016, 2017, CarPlay was already supported from the factory. The approximate prices for retrofitting before the war were in dollars, but now they might be lower in dollars because of the exchange rate, though in UAH they might remain roughly the same. You'd need to check with us at the service. So to summarize quickly, according to what the electric train told me, if you have Entry, Entry Nav or NBT, skipping CIC, retrofitting to NBT EVO would cost about $200. Remember that. If you have CIC, you have to do a lot of other things. Rewiring, it costs $300 to retrofit. This is for retrofitting to NBT EVO. To activate Apple CarPlay, it depends on the version of NBT and your car's configuration. On the market, this upgrade usually costs around $250, $300 or even $350. It varies depending on the case. In general, they say these prices. With us, as I recall, it cost about $300. This is full screen CarPlay, well, and screen mirroring. Who has Android? By the way, I should show how it looks on Android. I tested Apple CarPlay and screen mirroring a bit. As I mentioned earlier, I bought an iPhone specifically for this, took a trip to Konotop in Sumi region before the war, checked out the potholes, ways, and tested the technology. So, the benefits of Apple CarPlay. The main advantage is that your phone stays free. You connect via Apple CarPlay and it basically streams several apps. Useful apps like Waze and Google Maps. Waze will notify you about potholes, police, and speed changes. Google Maps, of course, works as expected. I also know people use Telegram a lot. You can't type messages on it, but you can send voice messages through Siri. You just ask Siri to help. Essentially, it's all about voice control. The advantage is that your phone is free for other uses. You can move it around as needed, while the screen is separate and not tied to what's happening on the monitor. The downside of Apple CarPlay is that you can't play videos. You can't open YouTube or your personal videos from your iPhone. But with screen mirroring, like I've used on Android, you can do all that. You can play any video from any player, whether it's from YouTube or elsewhere. You rotate the screen, you set it to broadcast in full aspect ratio, and it opens the video full screen with sound, and it's Bluetooth enabled. And you're off. With screen mirroring, you can watch videos while driving long distances. Basically, watch whatever you want. But there's a downside. The advantage of Apple CarPlay is that it's more autonomous and advanced, while the downside of screen mirroring is that when you're using it, the screen has to stay in a fixed position. If you start tapping and doing anything on your phone, it immediately starts mirroring your screen, so it won't show videos properly anymore. So, to sum it up, Apple CarPlay is more advanced, but it doesn't allow video. Screen mirroring lets you play videos, but you'll need either a separate phone to cast or avoid touching your phone during the process. You can leave it alone and watch videos like that. Sometimes it's possible to activate Apple CarPlay in a non-full screen mode without needing a firmware update, but that might cost more. Usually prices range from $1 to $2, and this is because you need to fully reprogram the head unit to a specific version. This process takes around 40 minutes to an hour, depending on the situation. It's special programming. Plus, there's the cost of the activation code and FSC codes for Apple CarPlay, which adds more expense. So the cost of the process is reasonable, but there are a lot of nuances and it's possible to mess up the head unit. There's a lot of nuance, so it's worth it. And so we've moved into the drum. This is the NBT EVO we've got here. This is the NBT Echo, by the way. And we've only got the head here, so we've got the same standard washer and the standard, monitor that was here. Let's see NBT EVO and CarPlay in action. And so we've moved to the F30, which about 2 years ago had CarPlay installed. NBT EVO with CarPlay. Here the owner had an ordinary entry. It didn't even have a combo box, and he couldn't listen to music from his phone via Bluetooth. So I decided to install NBT EVO with CarPlay. Now, for example, we'll show you what the owner of this car uses, what features it has, and how it looks. Let's go ahead and check it out. Here's the menu. This is the usual ID menu. This is what it looks like now that the phone is connected to CarPlay. Here it is connected there via Bluetooth, then automatically Wi-Fi is turned on. Well, in general, there are no problems here. So here is the menu. We spin the puck, we enter Apple CarPlay. Here we see the usual standard menu. I think many of you have seen Apple CarPlay in reviews or online photos. Here we have the app shortcuts for iOS, for Apple, from developers who've created specific functionality for Apple CarPlay. So if you're a developer, you can create functionality for CarPlay, and your app will show up here in the menu. Apps that don't support CarPlay functionality won't appear here. The most popular and useful apps, as I understand, are, for example, navigation. Here we have 2 navigation apps installed, Google Maps and Waze. By the way, we've set up CarPlay with a touchscreen, so you can do it like this if you want. You can click right from here. You can spin the puck here and go, for example, go to Google Maps. And then it shows us where we are. You can do that? No?
No, you can't do
You
that.
can't do scrolling like on your phone. And here we are near Berest. For example, what we can do here. We're spinning. We're scrolling. So when driving with the navigation, you can easily follow it and everything's convenient and cool. Personally, for our car, where we installed CarPlay, I bought an inexpensive iPhone just to test the function, and I like the Waze app for spotting cameras and potholes. I drove to Konotop in the Sumy region, 250 kilometers from Kyiv, and used Waze. This is how it happened. So we can click on the general menu here. Here we have Waze. Search. And then we can see what we've got here, for example, Zaporozhye. The owner of the car, Ivan, he's from Zaporozhye. For example, click here. Waze builds the route, and of course all of this happens through the phone's software and hardware. The phone just transmits the information here to the screen. So what we're seeing is, roughly speaking, Zaporozhye routes will be talking about Syria, who's talking about potholes.
Hi. Well, actually.
The app, or Siri on the iPhone, will alert you about approaching cameras. And when you're listening to music, you'll still notice the notifications about
Music. The music is muted. In some ways, talking point is played.
It's a handy feature. When I occasionally switch to our work van, the lack of these features is really annoying. It's hard to look at both things at once, so it's uncomfortable. But here, everything works smoothly on the car, whether it's the drum or the dual system. It all happens at once, and it's great. Now let's go to the menu. What other useful apps are there?
Music and audiobooks.
This is the standard, I take it, music, this one
Yes.
here, and Ivan uses the Deezer.
These.
Deezer, let's press Deezer. Up, these are some of your playlists, yeah. This is basically the music folder. The functionality is pretty much the same as on the phone. Everything is simple and clear. Let's go into Family Mix. Well, what's this, Paradise City? Come on, come on. Oh, it's music from the same game. I played some game about 5 years ago, about 10 years ago. There was this music at the beginning, right? Ivan is singing along. Oh, I got it. Shit, that Sergei Bakov will record this music. What else? So there is music. What else does Ivan use?
Bon Paul.
Holgate. Holgate. What's this? Is it for opening gates?
Yes.
All right, I get it now. This is an app connected to opening a barrier gate at your residential complex. Apparently, it has functionality for CarPlay, and you can do things like open it. Is he gonna open it now? Yeah, because we're not here. No, that's funny. Let's close it, man.
Well, you open the barrier, but that's it. It's open.
How do you close it?
It'll close itself after a while. No.
Okay. We're bad people. Okay. It's a back door. Now some bad dudes can go in there, okay? And no one will know it's open.
Why? This is the one that comes to you, let's say.
It closed.
Vandags. Yes.
Got it. What else? Music? Audiobook? Give me the audiobook.
That's the audiobook.
Audiobook, so now click. Yeah, that's the title of the book, right?
Yes.
Yeah, any book. Also, it looks like this one, from what I can see familiar, it's Richard Branson. Who did it sound like? Branson? No, I don't think so. Anyway, it's a handy thing. I used to listen to it sometimes. I mean, it's a cool audiobook. Okay. There's, as you can see, the driver with the car. He knows English. Ah, shit, something fell down. Got it. Let's see. What else is there?
Anyone. That's it, basically. Maybe a telegram.
Oh, no, a message. Well, it's all said with Siri. Hello, Siri.
Speak.
Send a message to Vadim Garage Racer.
What do you want to report?
I want to say Op Garage Racer.
Your message to the contact Vadim Garage Racer says want to report about Op Garage Racer. I'm asking...
To send.
It's done.
Where is it? Let's see. Whoops, can he see or can't he see? Oh, he didn't send it on Telegram. He sent a text message. And let's see. We see options like previous, I want to report, garage, I'm on the move, and so on. Basically, this app works fine for simple commands like hello or other basic phrases. Look at that. That's what he deciphered. And plus, well, you can send it on Telegram, not texting. There is the same thing here, I understand. And on Viber, that here, Viber.
Do you want to create a new message or make a call?
New message.
It's not in my right now.
What do you mean? What the?
Oh, let's Telegram.
Let's all not.
You don't just have a Viber?
New
Hours, no. Do you want to create a new message or call?
message. Vadim Garage
I'm
Racer.
sorry, I can't fulfill this request.
Crazy. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. We already tested it and everything was fine. Basically, try it yourself. It should work fine. This issue is more about the app itself, not CarPlay. It's more about the phone itself. So, as you can see, the iPhone isn't as flawless as it might seem. What else? That's
Play.
basically
All
it.
right.
There
Oh,
are podcasts, pretty straightforward. You can listen to them. Calls, yeah, you can make calls. Let's check it out. And yeah, the standard function, just like on any phone. You press it, see recent calls, and make calls via speakerphone. So that's basically the functionality. Write in the comments if you use any interesting CarPlay features. And there's the first screen with widgets. You can turn the iDrive controller left to see your recent activity. The root search menu allows you to browse music or audiobooks simultaneously. So it's a convenient feature to control what's happening here. From what I think, there is a minus. The main thing is that you can't watch YouTube or any other videos while driving. Apple CarPlay doesn't allow video playback by default, which is related to driving safety. Just like BMW doesn't let you play videos from a USB drive or other sources while driving, although that can be fixed with special coding. However, in Apple CarPlay, no coding can fix this. Ivan, what advantages do you see after installing NBT and Apple CarPlay?
The thing is, I think they're obvious. I constantly face the issue of having to hold my phone.
Is that before this one?
Before this, I always had to keep an eye on the road and look at my phone. But with CarPlay, I can calmly integrate with the car, not my phone. The phone just stays in my pocket or somewhere, and I control everything on the car's screen. I don't need to be distracted much. It's really convenient. And whenever something comes through on the phone, notifications, I hear them and can respond.
For example, here's a question. You're driving and someone sends you a message on Telegram. How do you handle that?
Depending on the settings I have in Telegram, like permissions or how I want it to react, it can either read the message out loud or not. I mean,
It's like, like you don't have to read it. It won't display
it won't.
the text here.
There's going to be a notification from who. And actually, if I want to hear it, I'll just kind of point my finger and I'll hear it.
Yes, exactly. You can also reply in the same way we just did through Telegram. Yeah, got it. Basically, it allows you to not touch your phone while driving and still use the phone's functions through the car's control tools. It's much more convenient, more native, I'd say, correct. Op Garage Racer. I'm already sitting in a drum. I'm in Lviv. We have a BMW service at the Auto Bazaar. In general, came from Kiev to Lviv. We shoot video. In short, I know I've made you here. I'm equipped with cameras. Look at our NBT. Here we go into the phone. We need, on Samsung, it's a screen. What's it called? Screen view. Smart view, smart view. We turn on smart view. This is where we connect the Android screen mirroring the mirror screen. Start now. Here we are before that. We go into the communication. We organize. Device. Here's our device. Screen mirroring. It's kind of waiting for it. Start it up. Start now. Yeah, it's showing like this. Up, there it is. Look, you can see my screen has shrunk. There are two options. Either we don't shrink the screen, and then it'll be a little bit wrong in the proportions, or we'll adjust to that screen. So it's offering us, it'll either go this way or that way. I've chosen so that it's better on the connection device that is there. It's better there, that's it, it's there. So, the benefits of using it that Apple CarPlay doesn't have. First of all, you can watch videos, you can have any player you want. You can turn on YouTube, there's a cool thing. So, let's say we kill Aristovich. Here's Aristovich. And what's cool is, first of all, you can watch it like this. Secondly, you can watch it like this. Here.
Guys, we're stopping here. Come with us.
Like this. You can place it like this, but it seems like everything is crooked and you have to hold the phone. We can do it like this, and it immediately gets worse. How is it solved? How is it solved? Maybe it's just that this specific Samsung did it like that. Smart View in its own way. There's a function called Apple Appcast. You can highlight it like this. Here it shrinks. Now we'll make it full screen. So we've expanded it to full screen. And select these. So we have a full screen video right here. And here we take the click like this. That's it. Cool. Let's put it there. It's going to fall asleep. It's going to show here. Here's a video with a sound. There you go. And that's not the end of the fun. You can turn on Waze. One here will be Waze and the other will be a video. That's the cool part. You can use one for navigation and the other for watching a video while you're driving between cities or whatever. On the highway, you can calmly watch the video and turn off Waze. The sound will come from the phone about to the nearest potholes and traffic cameras and stuff like that. We can also turn it on. And we can turn on the map. Google Map. Up, here we are. Pasechnaya Lviv. Turbo service former. Here are our boxes. Here we are. Okay. Here. This is the first use case. And the cool thing is, I think it's definitely better than Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay doesn't allow you to put a video in here. It does. The second use, like if you're slowing down YouTube, take it out. That's the second use case. For example, if you're driving and don't need a video, just turn on the map. And you can also play music in parallel. So you have the map on the screen and you just flip it like this to start the music. You've got a map that's almost full screen. Depending on how big your phone is, it can be the whole screen. Plus you can, if you don't like the emptiness, you can make a poly screen. And it'll be full screen. So you go like this, you can turn on the video here. Let's say aim, you turn it on. There you go. Works with the car. The whole thing. Once. That's it, turn it off like this. Pick a place to go. Alright, turn on the track and go. With music, of course, the downside is that you can't. In this Screamer, you can't. It doesn't change anything when you tap it here. Usually the music switches when you change the mode, like from FM radio. Here we have one click. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. If you had a flash drive, you could play it with a flash drive. Plug it in. And the screaming starts and the music comes on. So the sound can be adjusted, but you can't skip the track directly like you would with a melody, for example, by going forward. The melody won't flip forward. Yes, if you connect via Bluetooth, everything works as usual and you can skip tracks or change them without any issues. But with screen mirroring, you see, it's a little bit lame. And that's how you use it. You can't do YouTube and music at the same time. Here we go, we turn on the YouTube, we do it again. 1. Okay, we're looking for hours. There's usually this one hiding here. This one's hiding here. You get caught, my fingers are active or something. Oh, this one, we don't hide it. Again, Aristovich click. Turn it on. Applecast. All right, we're going full screen here.
Screen? Is it full screen?
It's full screen. Here we go. That's it, here we go. Well, these are some of the cool features, obviously. Except, right, if you turn it off, you can use other apps like Gallery, Telegram, or Viber, while the video keeps playing in the background. So, well, I mean, that's the fun of it, I guess. And by the way, this Appcast, it only works for a few apps. Like, well, you know, you close it, you turn on the maps. Look for our Appcast. Here's ours. Here it is. It shows us what app we can do. Let's say Appcast 1. Only YouTube, Netflix, Internet, and Samsung Health. Yeah, I mean, you can do the browser, by the way. You can do the Samsung browser. Well, that's a move in the direction, by the way. With Apple CarPlay, you can't add different videos, maps, or Waze and others. The apps that will work there, but won't be displayed here, won't interfere here. It would be kind of cool, and I think it would be cooler than Apple CarPlay. But Samsung's only got these apps here that work fine. I wonder how things are going on Xiaomi, Samsung. Oh, Sony, what's the fancy one? Huawei and so on. Here. Anyway, for me personally, because of watching the vid, it's like screen mirroring is not that bad, actually. It's even better than Apple CarPlay. So let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think? It's one thing when it just mirrors the screen, which is pretty lame, like a hack or a makeshift solution. Right, but on the other hand, when YouTube shows up on its own and here nothing shows, so here you can open the gallery, Telegram, maps, and so on, and it doesn't interfere with each other. This approach is pretty cool. Worthwhile. It turned out to be an interesting and useful video. I think for many people it will be helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and write in the comments which system you would choose for yourself. Apple CarPlay or Android screen mirroring? It seems like we have more iPhone users watching, so they'll probably lean towards Apple CarPlay, but we'll see how the polls go. We'll keep filming interesting videos about BMW and our specific From Rags to Riches project. We already have ideas for the next upgrades of our vehicle, so stay tuned for the next episodes. Subscribe, like, and don't forget that there's a war going on in our country. Help the army, support volunteers, and as always, glory to Ukraine, death to the occupiers, and now we're off to work.